Okay, guys, whoever's tuning in today, my name's Kory Allen. I'm the offensive coordinator, offensive line coach at the University of Findlay. We're a Division II school located in Northwest Ohio. I have been here for 15 seasons, served in a lot of different roles. Currently as the offensive coordinator and offensive line coach, but I've been the O-line coach, a run game coordinator, associate head coach, and all those things. The heart and the root of my coaching and my passion, though, is offensive line play. So fired up that I got the opportunity to talk today. Here's what we're going to get into for you guys is I'm going to take you through my teaching progression, basically, what I believe in, from stance to finish on a play. And then go into drill tape. I know, for us, just as offensive line guys, it's our job to function up front within the framework of the offense that we're working under. Okay, so if you have, if you got a spread team, if you got a pro style team, all of those things are good, but they may not. I've gone into those clinic talks and it's like, okay, well, this doesn't do me any good. All they're doing is talking scheme, and I'm the offensive line coach, right? The OC is going to tell me the scheme that we're running. So this is more drill stuff, and then we're going to talk about what's good, what's bad, how it's applicable to what it is that we're trying to do on a Saturday. So without further ado, let's see if I can be technologically savvy here and get this shared. Okay, so far so good. All right, Coach Burke, give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen, right? We're good? Yeah, okay. So here's one of the things that, I think that I would ask myself is, if I'm coaching, is what's my base teaching progression? Because a lot of things, it depends. What do you carry? For us, like in the run game, we're going to carry 4 base runs and then different, twists off of those things. Okay. We're going to carry 2 to 3 base quick games, 2 to 3 base dropbacks, 2 to 3 pocket movements, 2 to 3 RPOs. Okay. And so when you start adding those things up, well, that's a lot of different things that you got to prepare for, not to mention your basic game planning. And then on top of that, you have the fronts. Is it a 4 down over, 4 down under? Is it a 50 front? Is it a stack? Is it an odd front? Are you getting man pressures? Are you getting zone pressure? So when you take all of that, I think for our guys to enable them to play fast, it's very important that we have a teaching progression and they understand that everything fits within the framework of the stance. Okay. We have our stance. And from there, everything that I was just talking about, like in a game plan, would be departure. I'm going to depart from that stance every single snap. How I depart, where I depart, why I depart, okay, is imperative to understand. And then where I'm trying to contact that man. And once I contact him, where are we going in regards to trying to move him? All right, because it's not just taking a guy vertical all the time. All right, so we'll get into that. Here's what we believe in here. We believe in a balanced 2-point stance. It allows us to be effective in both the run and the pass. Okay. Now, again, I'll show you that because we have a clip of our guy getting into the stance. For me, it's about hips and hands. Okay. It's not necessarily about that hand being down on the ground, because when that hand comes up out of the ground, and there's teams doing great things in both a 2 and a 3. But when that hand comes up out of the ground, it's coming up first. So why not put it there as long as we can set our hips at the proper level, right? Outside foot's going to have depth depending on body type and the situation. Okay. Not every kid's the same. All right. Our left tackle here last year, 6'5", 310 pounds. Our center was barely 6 foot. All right. He'd argue that he was 6 foot every day. All right. But that guy's got a different stance than the left tackle. We go from 6 foot to 6'5" and everywhere in between on the offensive line. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are the same way. You get what's in your district and you coach the heck out of them. You get what it is you're able to recruit to your school. So outside foot slightly turned out, so there's pressure on the ball of the foot. Okay. Inside foot will be pointed straight ahead. The inside forearm is going to rest just above the knee, creating a flat back stance, slight arc in the lower back. In the small of that back, you want to feel a little bit of pressure and strain. Outside hand placed top of the thigh, elbow tucked to the rib cage, and our knees are going to be slightly over our toes. Okay. Listen to this last point. Hips will be parallel. We don't want to go beneath parallel. Right. I spent a lot of time in O-line shoots when I was young, right? In college and all that stuff, because I'm getting older. We don't use shoots here. Guys are in all different shapes or sizes. Low for one person is not for another. Okay. It's about hip level, but you do not want to go beneath parallel. We had a left tackle here that was just he was a fantastic athlete, was an All-American for us, but man, he had like a Frogger stance. His butt was down below his knees. First thing he had to do was come up. Okay. But when we're getting a guy into a comfortable stance, watch how he just falls open right there. all right, when we're talking about each guy early on in camp, he's just going to roll over this inside foot right there, all right, and he's going to just let it fall open. And roughly where it falls is going to be about, okay, is going to be about the width that you want within an inch or two. Okay, so to sit there and say, shoulder width apart, guys' shoulders are different sizes and things like that. Now, at this point in the beginning of camp, in the beginning of spring ball, we're going to start a 3-point stance, and then I'll give them an up call, okay, where I want them to pick their hand up to get into the 3. And what you're going to notice is I'm not adjusting my hips here, right? See how the elbow as it comes up is tucked in? All right, right there. We're in good shape. That's what it looks like looking straight ahead. All right, got a nice little roll in the small of the back. Knee is slightly over the toe. Hips are at parallel or slightly above. Okay, and so we'll have them do that a couple times. You can take a look at it from the side here and look at the hips. Okay, and watch him drop down into that stance. Really like what we're looking at right here with the back, the arch of the back. And as he picks his hand up, you're going to see that's where we want to be. Okay, so that's what we consider a proper stance. Okay, now we talked about the teaching progression: stance, departure, contact, movement, finish. All right, now what is it in drills that you're doing that does it come from your progression? Sticky feet for us, the name of the drill. Okay, and then what's it work on? This drill is a pre-practice drill, essentially no different than a quarterback going pat and go and warming his arm up. All right, we want to warm our base up. We talk about our feet and our hips as our basement, and we do that every day. All right, so when our skill guys are doing ball drill, ball security, okay, we're out here. Now, look, you'll notice no stagger here. Everybody square across. So we're just doing a 4-way movement right now, all right, just to warm up the idea of step replace, right? We all talk about how important base is. So as you can see, these guys, just on my command, we're going to start out nice and slow. We're not loose yet, right? We're going to start out slow and just pounding those feet in the ground, hips down, moving around, bang, 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 and we're good, right? Now, shake them out a little bit, shake them out, and then we're going to start to eventually, we're going to move faster with this and get into a 4-way go. Okay? And what we're looking for, obviously, is we don't want the heels to click, right? We want to make sure that we're playing on the ball of that foot, all right, which is the front side of the instep. All right. And I think that's a case in point. We'll talk about it with some of these other drills. I get this pause right now. We don't want to be on our toes, but we don't necessarily want to be flat all the way through our feet in the run game either. Okay. We want to put a pressure on the ball of that foot on the inside of the toe so that if the defender was to move, we would fall forward, but not down. Right. We don't want to fall on our face, but we don't want to be in a position where we're so erect vertically that we're driving through the heel, and the only guy that you can beat is a guy that you're physically dominant over. Okay, so again, you get an idea. That's just that's a warm-up drill every day, going 4 different directions. Okay, now another everyday drill for us is 2-step fit. 2-step fit, all right, utilizes stance, departure, contact, and movement from the progression. All right, here's how we coach that drill and what we're doing. We want gather steps to occur. All right, we do not want our guys to be robotic. All right, I don't tell them get 6 steps in on the board. What you're going to do is you're going to get them shortening that thing up. I'm going to tell them, hey, the first 2 steps of this are live, and then you can come up and out of it as you please. All right, so we're working on our hips, our hands, our departure, and our contact here. Okay, defender holding the bag sideways across his body. Again, coaching points, take what you want from this. I want the guy holding it sideways across his body and not by the handles so that we're not out creating a surface that's not solid, okay? So as you look at this, all right, see the stance, 2-step fit, boom, boom, all right, and we're looking hips and hands up and in. All right, now, this is just a basic inside zone step for us, and we'll work it left, right. We'll start to tilt the boards on an angle when we go to mid-zone, all right, but you got stance, departure, contact, and movement, as you can see right here. Now, for us, the second step on zone is what we call a J step, right? You're going to see that backside foot, right? You're going to see that thing work up and in, right? Forming that J. We need to be and want to be aggressive with that second step. We want to coach it that way. We want our hips and hands to come with that second step. You watch the center snapping the ball right there. He's too vertical before he gets into his second step. Okay. I think that the kid immediately to the right, as you're looking at the film, is in good shape. I like where he's at with his hips and hands and the timing of it all. I think the kid to the far right's hands are out too wide, right? We want to short load our hands. All right. When I talk about short loading our hands in a two-step fit, think about zippering, pulling up your zipper with your thumbs. Bang, quick short load. We don't want to put hands in the holsters. We don't want to bring them all the way back into our body, but we want a quick strike, right? Quick load and strike based on the depth that we play at. And that's different for different people, right? How deep are you setting your guards? Tackles are setting even with them. That's going to depend on what you're doing in regards to a load, okay? So same thing, you see us going the other way, and we're just getting this thing every day, and it's a 5-minute drill every day. 2 to the right, 2 to the left, tight zone. 2 to the right, 2 to the left, mid zone. Okay, we take the boards out of there when we work outside zone. But for us, everything is about hips, hands, and strike right here. Again, it's another warm-up drill for us to get things rolling and get going on the day. Okay, here's a better look at it. This is in skill development this fall. You'll notice this is fairly recent film due to the masks. But again, you want an aggressive strike. You see these guys, I like where their elbows are coming here. Really like the kid on the left with his elbows. Like the J-step of the kid to the right. All right, you see a good strike. Hands are too wide by the kid to the left. Hands are in good shape. Excuse me, the kid on the right. Okay, let's watch it going the other way. Same thing, all right? Same thing. Make sure that foot, where you have them put the foot's important, because the step that you're going to take, can get too wide if you get too far off of the board, just as far as a small coaching point. Keep in mind, it's just the first 2 steps here, bang, bang, that are live, and then they're coming up out of it, okay? So that gives you what you want to see there. All right, gives you another good look here. All right, what I don't like, you can see the toe of the kid on the left. See how he's way up on the toe? No good. Not a fan of it. Like the kid on the right, like where he's at. So again, easy drill to get going. Now, take them out of there, all right, and start to work base blocks. And let's talk about base blocks for a minute, all right? Stance, departure, contact, movement. So all that from the progressions being utilized. But now let's talk about the varied looks. You have to work them based on your alignment and assignment in individual. You can't just stay in shoots. You can't just hit sleds. Again, all this is my opinion, right? And some of this stuff you're going to agree with, some you aren't. And that's great, because every clinic talk that I listen to, I agree with some things and I don't with others. And that's the beauty of our game. Bottom line is put the ball in the end zone. But for us, I want to work the alignments. If you start talking about a gap player, the center and the right guard, a gap player, center and the right guard, and they're comboing to the play side linebacker, that is just the very tip of the iceberg. Is it a one technique, a gap player, a 2-eye, or a hats player? They're all a gap. Is the guy that they're comboing to, is he in a 10? Is he in a 20? Or is he in a 30 alignment? Because that's going to depend on how we depart and how we combo that guy. Same thing with our base blocks. Okay, when you look at this right now, okay, we're going to now take the boards out of there. All right, and what we're working on here is what we call a high wall for an inside zone track. These guys are both working 3 techniques, okay? The right guard here is working inside zone to the right. Left guard's working inside zone to the left. And we're working what we call high walls, because the first read for us is the down defender to the call side. So we want to define that for the back. And we want to put what we call a high wall into there and throw that inside leg up and in with the hip and hand, okay? And you see that thing coming up and in right there. Here's another look at it, right? Tackle, all right? Here's our right tackle working a high wall block on a 5 technique. Love how the hip and hand, see how the hip and hand violently come together right there? You can see the left arm and the left leg. Now, I don't like how wide he goes with that first foot. Now, on his second step, he gets it in there, though. He should be coming up and in on a little tighter angle, not lateral, okay? What we have going on the backside here, though, is a left guard working zone to the right, and he's working what we call a drive turn on a 2-eye, right? Because you don't just want to scoop a 2-eye. He can press you in and close. He can play both A gaps. So instead of just having these guys always just work generic, all right, then I'm going to come up and say, hey, dive right. Now I'm going to give our numerical call. I'm going to not give it here, but I'm going to say, okay, we're going to go dive right. Well, based on who you are, that's the block you're going to execute when we're working base blocks. All right, if that makes sense. So we're going to get lots of reps at that stuff. right? Now I'm going to tell them, hey, outside zone to your side, outside zone to your side, or outside zone to the backside. In this case, we're working OZ to the backside. We are a full zone, not a pin and pull team. So they're working at what we call a depth open step, all right, and a rip. We want to rip that thing, keep that backside elbow tight to the rib cage on this reach block, all right, and sit in there and get that scoop. All right, so we're assuming right now backside 3 technique, and that's what we call a depth open step. Now, I don't mind if the legs get somewhat tight together on this because it's true OZ. I just don't want them crossing. That's why it's a depth open. We got to make sure we get some width on that thing. All right, you see what we call low shoulder, high shoulder. We want to make sure, and again, just using a lot of buzz terms, you can see the kid on the left, all right, and the kid on the right somewhat. Now, 2 different athletes here, but both get the job done. You want a little bit of a tilt into the block. You want low shoulder, high shoulder on the outside coming out of there. So anyways, I know I'm speaking a million miles an hour. We're talking O-line play, and I shotgunned a coffee about 2 minutes before Coach Burke put me on here. So, okay. Now we're just working drive turns again on zone stuff. But you get the idea of different looks over and over and over again, all right, to get the desired result. And these guys are all over. These are freshmen. There's sophomores in here. There's seniors in here. Okay. And now we're working, again, the ability of drive turn versus 2-eye. Okay. Now, fit, drive, and move. All right. Use the boards, move, forcing the defender to keep his hips on the man with a proper base. All right. So now we're going to get in the fit. Okay. And the defender is just, and we're going to start it out slow. The defender is just going to start to work to either side of the man as if he's working to get off the block. Okay. We want to think of this as a balancing act. We want to steer the car. We've already gotten into the fit. And as he's trying to work over the top, all right, I'm going to press and pull to balance him back out, knowing that if I do a good job of that while still working to keep my hips square, where's he going to fall? He's going to fall to the inside. So I can't get too violent with it so that he can fall all the way off, right? Think about trying to keep a ball on a flat 2x4. To do that, it's going to constantly be moving back and forth a little bit. And that's all we're trying to get out of this drill. Okay. And we want to keep our hips on it. You see the defender, number 50 right here. Okay. Pretty good job right there of our left guard. Okay. And incidentally, he signed with the Cardinals. So, Arizona Cardinals last year. So he was a pretty solid player for us. He does a nice job of you see the step replace and you see their hips shouldn't be flying outside. Like the kid to his immediate left, where right behind where I'm coaching, his hips are flying way too far outside of the framework. Right there, no good, right? Again, when you get a guy on skates, when you start to get him rolling, it's all about a balancing act, and you got to control it with your hips and hands, okay? Now, in the off season, when we don't have pads where we can lock on, because again, look, I get it. We hold from time to time, all right? Keep it inside the framework. But now, like I steal what we did, the crayons from the receiver coach and the running backs coach. All right. So that they can lock onto those things and again, work their hips. Okay. Kid right there that I'm standing behind coaching up he's from Loveland High School. He was a freaking wing T type guy down there. And we had to teach him, how we do things here. And he was a dominant player for us. But anyways, so again, fit, drive, and move. You can see there, hips are way out behind it to the left. You see what's good and what's bad, right? I'm not in the fit, okay? I'm not in the fit. See the head down? No good. Like the heads up to the kid on the right. I think we're in better shape. Keep the elbows in. So that gives you an idea, okay? Fit, drive, and retreat is not something that I would do all the time. I might hit it once a week, all right? And I'm definitely going to hit it with our younger guys, though, because the drill's forcing the offensive linemen to accelerate their feet and bring their hips onto a defender. On a set hit call by me, the defense is going into a back pedal. So I just want to get them to have the idea that, look, dude, we get one chance to get off the ball here with a little explosion out of our stance. You need to go run that guy down and fit him. That's how fast I need you coming off the ball. So if you look at this, again, they're into a back pedal. Like if you look at the center of the snap, they're into a back pedal immediately. I'm not worried about the fit of the defender. What I'm worried about is us getting out of our stance and chasing him down. getting our hips and hands moving and getting things going fast. That's all we're trying to do with this drill. Okay. Run them down and stay, all right, stay down in our seat, in our fit. That's it. Now, this is a drill that we'll do several times a week. All right. Fight pressure for us is if you start to think about technique and your coaches, I know we talk about this, right? A 3 technique is going to put his hands on the guard, right? A 1 technique is going to put his hands on the center. A 4-eye is going to put his hands on the tackle. Well, whoever's getting their hands, right, whoever's having the defender get their hands put on them is going to be getting pressed. And so if I'm working opposite of that, let's think about a center and a backside guard, right? If that combo is working to a play side backer, it happens all the time in zone football. That 1 technique is trying to press and close the play side A gap while still maintaining control of the backside A gap. So he's going to press that thing through. If our hips come up out of our stance, if we pop straight up and we're just eyeballing our guy at the second level, we're going to get lit up and rolled out of there. That 1 technique is going to effectively shut down any A to A gap run in inside zone. Okay. So what we're going to do to simulate that is we're going to put our guys in a stance, and then on a set hit call, those guys are going to be applying pressure, right, just to the side of that man. And you want to see play side hand free, eyes to the play side. You want to see a low shoulder, high shoulder mentality and sit on it and fight that pressure. Okay, you see the center right here. Boom, 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 sit down. And you can see hips are up a little bit too high. Hips are up too high for him, right? You see him rising up. You also see him getting worked off the board. Okay, I think the guy to the right of him is in better shape. I think that our right guard, who's all the way up to the top left with the white shoes on up there, I think he's in pretty good shape. Okay, but this is a drill that's applicable to anybody. You know, this is our left tackle here is all the way on the far right. He could be working a backside scoop with a 7 tech, with a 5 technique with he and the tight end. Okay, in zone football. So we're going to sit on that all the time. And this is a drill we're going to do several times a week. And we're going to work at both sides. All right. And we got to really make sure that we get those feet in the ground, bang, bang, press it. Okay. And have them work to get vertical. You can see that it doesn't go very long. I'm not drilling it all day long. Okay. Here's a better look from this fall, right? You just see kind of how the setup is there. This is in skill development. Really like what's going on here with these guys as far as low shoulder, high shoulder. Okay. If that makes sense. Okay, now on to the next. You'll see it going both ways. Way too big of a second step by the guy as we're looking at it on the left. I like the kid on the right better in regards to his steps. Okay, so now next drill. Let's talk about getting to linebackers. All right, we've all been there. We've had to answer it as coaches, and we've caught crap for it as offensive linemen. All right, how is it? I don't know, maybe it's your dad, your uncle, the neighborhood expert, okay? How is it that at 280 pounds, you got knocked on your tail or stonewalled by a kid that's 210 pounds at linebacker? How is that physically possible? Well, it's simple, all right? If I told you to put your feet even with each other, parallel, and then I said you need to walk across the room, but you have to keep them parallel, it's impossible. We walk like this. If my feet were like this and I said, get across the room without breaking that alignment that you have right now, I can't get across the room. But if I do this, I can all the way across. The biggest issue that offensive linemen fall into when it comes to climbing the linebackers, not on gap scheme, I'm talking zone scheme here, is they hop or jump and end up square into the linebacker. Okay. And I explain it to our guys as this: if you took an axe, your dad sends you out there to split wood, and you take that axe, you go, tink. All the power you've generated moving that axe down to that piece of wood has been stopped, and then you got whatever power you can generate in that short area. Okay, as opposed to, boom, right, trying to chop down that cherry tree. Right. So when we talk lead foot to linebackers. All right. We're just working on not getting stagnant feet. Okay. So it doesn't matter to me at linebacker level which foot you lead with. Again, 6 foot guys, 6'4" guys. As long as when you get into that area, into that close space of the linebacker, we drop our hips, buzz, and lead into it with a strike. It's got to get right back to the 2-step fit that we were working on the boards. So if I watch the kid to the far right here, 55, I like where he's at, and you can see that he ends up with a left foot lead right there. But what that allows is for the next foot to come into contact when the hips come in. Bang, bang, right? So I think that's good. Understand there's a fine line when you teach this, because if the stagger is too big, right, we're narrow and we're back on our heels as well. But it just needs to be that slight stagger. And the kid that I'm watching right here, really good job at dropping the hips, bang, slight stagger into it and roll, okay? You can see us here this fall, pretty good look at it. I think the kid on the left's getting a little bit too wide, because if I get that guy working off on an angle based on where the ball carrier's at, I'm a little bit too wide to open my hip and take him that way. Okay. When we talk about blocking linebackers, and right now there's profile approach and there's cylinder approach, right? For us, profile approach is he's moving laterally, more on outside zone type stuff. We're going to block the near point. Cylinder is he's coming straight down at me. I see the man. I'm going to block the near point if my track is correct. Okay. So it doesn't matter to me if I get play side, middle, or backside of the man, as long as my track is correct. All right. So you see those guys climbing. I like where they're at there. I got no problem with it. And you can see the stagger of the feet into it. Now, here's an example. You can see the guy on the left, his right, that's too big. Okay. The guy with the gray shirt on, too big. The guy to the right, good. Boom, boom. And that allows you to bring the next step. There's going to be collision, right? There's force going on right here. So we just want to make sure we stagger. Okay. And there's the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right. Now, leverage and hand replace, just a full pad drill that we work just on resetting our hands and dropping hips. It's good for the young guys. It's not a drill that I do all the time. It's a once in a while deal as need be. We're in the fit, drive. I'll give a switch call, and I just want to see a guy come up and under and run his hips and hands. Switch. So down and back. They hate that because that wears them out. Okay. Then I'll get nice the second time through, and I'll just have them go down and back. But again, you're not going to be in a position where your hands are always in the perfect spot. They're wide. You got to reset. You're in a stalemate. You got to reset. It's just a drill that allows us to work our fit and running up on them. That's it. Okay. Not a ton more to that. This right here, I'm going back and forth. Halftime, I'm looking at you, Coach Burke. I want to talk to you about it. Then I'm talking to the guy, whatever. Stay with me here. Pods and combo drill, I believe in more than anything. I had an opportunity years ago now. Jim McNally, right? He's like the godfather of offensive line play. And he had he had Anthony Munoz at left tackle with the Bengals for years. He was with the Buffalo Bills. I got in to spend a day with him. He's like, look, he goes, use the least amount of equipment as possible and block each other. That's what you got to do. Stay away from all the fancy tools and put your hands on each other. And I believe that. I think you got to feel the fit. I think you got to feel the technique. I think you need to do that over and over again. And I alluded to it earlier in regards to alignment and assignment. Okay. So we set the players up in pods. I'll set it up. If I don't have the tight ends and fullbacks that day, it'll be the right tackle, center and right guard, left tackle. And then we'll flip it. Left guard, left tackle on his own, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. And I'm just going to give calls. Use your numbers. Use your names as much as possible in practice. Again, just an opinion. If we're working power combos, I want to know in the gap scheme combos, I'm going to use that number so they hear it again and again and again. Use the cadence that your quarterbacks use. Change that cadence up. If you got a quick cadence, a clap cadence, and a normal cadence, use all of them. If you got a check with me cadence, use it and use the numbers. You're always teaching those guys if you do that. Always teaching them. Okay, but we're going to do this over and over again. Like you can see right here, if I would get my tail out of the way, but I get up in there too much. This is our left tackle and our left guard working a gap scheme combo. All right, I got B gap, I got A gap. All right, and we're going to start that motor with our inside foot, throw our hip and hand up inside. You see his right hand free, eyes are into the A gap. All right, we're on what we would, this would be a vertical combo call for us, not a gap over call, which they're two different calls. Whether we want to knock the guy out of the gap into A gap or whether we want a vertical combo. A lot of times that depends on linebacker alignment. Yes. So we're working this combination. Okay. So you see that's a good one. Now you see him over the top, right? And now you see just working those combos. You can't get enough of it. Cannot get enough of working those combos and feeling the fit. So that's power combo stuff. Now we'll get into a situation where we'll add the fullbacks in. We'll add the tight ends in. Up to my left, as you're looking at the screen, the tight end, the on-the-ball tight end is over there. Down here to the right, as you're looking at it, the fullback's there. Two different concepts going on. We're working power with the tight end up to the top. We're working split zone ISO here down to the bottom. How many guys can you get involved, right? We're working a drive turn block with a 2-eye. We talked about that. You see him working that thing vertical and then prying the can open at left guard. You see a good job right there by the left tackle of working his hand, right in there to that near point and high walling that. And we'll gap exchange this. We'll do all the different things that we need to do. We'll blitz 44 off the edge to give you those pod fit looks. So again, I'm getting individual base blocking, and I'm also getting the look that I'm going to see that week. Okay. Now here's us working, right? So there's that low shoulder work we talked about. Center and backside guard, low shoulder. All right. With a one technique, we don't work a drive turn. You don't have time in zone football to work a drive turn like you just saw when I talked about the left guard prying him open. We're going to ride the wave here. Okay. Buzz terms matter. Buzz terms matter to me. We're going to ride this wave. And if he wants to spit the bit and take it out to the B gap, down lineman, great. Let him spin out to the B gap. Otherwise, we're going to ride that wave, take it on a 45 out of there. Okay. So pretty good job by the center and left guard there. Thought it looked good. Now, in this pod, we're working a play side tackle and gap scheme, right? Unwrap linebacker coming down. You got to work these things. Can't just sit there and drill, the basics over and over again. We got to work what we call a tempo capture. See the lateral step, B gap's open, right? We're assuming B gap's open. Right now, I got a guy coming into the B gap. We make our call, alert, boom. Throw the hip and hand over. I think it's a little bit high. We'd like to get it right down in the rib cage. But again, if that guy's working across face and he's throwing a rip in, that rib cage is fairly protected depending on the time that you make contact with him. So we need to be able to feel that fit. It's not always going to be perfect, okay? Front side isolation block, putting an ISO in front side, all right, and so just working a gap over where this is what we would call a leverage combo, right? We got leverage here. So we're going to get two hands on. If we were working this thing to the left, where we were going here and we were zoning like this, like I just showed you, then the center's left hand would be free and his eyes would be free. But because we're working the ball is going here to the right, well, now because we have leverage, right? As I look at that, the guy we're comboing to, our combo has leverage to him, then we can put two hands on. But we got to teach that. We got to know that. All right, so you see him knock it over. We're in good shape there. Okay, power combos again. Don't like the drop step out of the left guard. Should go up and down. Don't like the fact that he forgot his issued cleats and he broke his high school joints out that day, but is what it is. Young guy, true freshman working here at center. Just got to us. Right? This is what a fall those freshmen had, man. What a mess. But again, nice job here, right? This would be what we would call a ricochet cog, and they got to know that, right? Bang. I'm going to try to displace. In zone football, you got to give the back a place to win. Don't just zone left or zone right. Where is it that he can win, especially if you're in zone read? Where is it he can win before he gets back to the read key? Because if the ball's given, at that point now that backside defensive end ends up being well coached, they're near footing and doing a nice job of getting the give and then being able to collapse. You'd like to be able to put the ball on the play side. So you see the ricochet where we don't mind. As long as that linebacker's at depth, we're going to bang this thing over, boom, and take the hip over the top. Want to see it, okay? There, nice backside combination. Working a scoop on a 3 technique here. See him throw the shoulder. Really nice job. This kid, quick story for you, he's from Loveland, the left guard, 74, won the state championship in football in his senior year. He was named the Anthony Munoz Offensive Lineman of the Year in the state, then goes out and goes undefeated in wrestling and wins the state championship in wrestling too. So he had 2 seasons his senior year, 2 state championships. And then he ended up being the Scholar Male Athlete of the Year here, Academic All-American, Conference Offensive Lineman of the Year, and a first-team All-American. And he is 6'1" 3/4 and just the toughest dude, 3.97. So anybody out there, look him up down in Southwest Ohio, because Andrew Alton was the real deal. You talk about a pleasure to coach. He started putting the tape on those fingers. You knew some mean, nasty play was coming. Got me all excited. But again, you see a nice job here throwing that shoulder in. I like the assumed scoop step of the backside tackle. You see it? I don't want to come in narrow. I want to stack that combo. I want to stack that combo to get up and in so that we can begin to overtake it. Otherwise, it's all going to ride flat on the line to me. Okay? So you see the technique involved there. That's good. Now we're going to get into, I mentioned to you that we run pure outside zone. So for us, we're going to go 3-man combo here. I think it's different when you got a 2-eye. All right, we're going to try to jump it at center, and then we're going to get out and run, and we're reading open-close window here at the guard spot, open-close window. All right, so just because the play side tackle might have leverage and you see color of the down defender, that doesn't mean you have to push it through. Does the color in your gap impede you from climbing to the linebacker or not? If it doesn't, then climb. If it does, push it through. Not right. The way I was taught back in the day was if you see color, you got to push OZ through. It's going to get you to the sideline too fast. Okay. We want to decide on 3. Right. That gives you decide on 3. It's your outside foot. So I'm sure with Zoom, this is all slow motion, but I'll go slow anyways. Watch this. Watch 1, 2, 3. There it is. See that foot in the ground? It's on a slight tilt. It's his outside foot. He can make a decision now to push through or not. And he's going to make the correct decision to climb. And now you see him, he's looking to throw that thing. His track is correct. So it goes back to blocking linebackers. Is my track's correct? I'm going to block him front side, right down the middle or backside. I'm going to block the near point. Near point to him would be play side. If that linebacker was over another step, he'd take the back shoulder and run it on by. I have no problem with it. Okay, you get a gap exchange. Do not like it. Do not like where the right guard's at right here. You got to tuck that backside hand or you're going to get stymied right there, right now. Okay, young guy for us just trying to figure it out. You can see I was really working with the right tackle here and trying to make sure that he keeps his track correct. When you get gap exchange, that's a strange deal out there for the tackles, because they can shoot their gun right inside of you before it ever gets out there. So we do a lot of work on that. Okay, now how to work power pulls without killing each other all the time. I steal the D-line's hoop. They hate it. I steal the defensive line's hoop. I put the board in there to simulate the line of scrimmage or where the center's at. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to put those boards in there, right? You got 2 different ways that defensive ends are typically going to play, right? They're going to be force players or spill players. So I'm going to get the idea of right now, we're looking at a force player, right? See how the boards are set up on the side. We're looking at what you would call a kick out, right? So we teach a depth open. Okay. We teach a depth open step 1, 2, 3. Again, here's why we teach it. I have no problem with skip pull. Okay. But with a skip pull, because most teams are spill teams right now, power doesn't hit as tight to tighter as it used to. Most of power happens out in the B gap at minimum, typically the C gap, because they're wrong arming it out to the next player, right? You get Phil scrape out of linebackers right now. I don't think that we can get over far enough with a skip pull. So we go depth open. We want to fight to keep our shoulders square, want to fight to keep the helmet square, but it takes a good athlete to be able to open that hip. This one's not as good. You see him get turned too much. But on that 3rd step, you should be able to get far enough over to decide, all right, this is our center working a fold concept because we keep everybody involved here. But on that 3rd step, you should be able to read, kick out or log and work your way up in there. Pretty good job right here. Like it. Back, see the crossover, and let's look and see 1, 2, 3. I like where he's gotten by his 3rd step. Gives us a chance to get through, get vertical collision the linebacker. Okay. So that's just some basic run game stuff. Am I okay on time right now? Good? Okay. So now just getting into some of the past stuff, right? Z drill. utilizing these things, stance, departure, contact, movement. We're working this drill to aim small, all right, and work change of direction. So defender, we're going up, in, back out. 1, 2, 3. Okay. This drill is much more suited for guards and centers. Okay. We'll utilize it with tackles when they're working with sets for their quick game stuff. Okay. But as you can see here, I like the departure. I want to feel the feet. I want them to be sticky. I think he's leaning into it a touch too much. I'd like a bit more punch away. But if I got a guy on my departure that's coming down the middle of my man, I'm okay with a two-handed punch. With more of an even punch if he's coming down the chest. I'm going to stagger it the more he gets off of my midline, right? I'm going to stagger my hands the more he gets off the midline. Now I'm just working tracking right here. Just working tracking. I like the steps inside. You can see it. Okay, good. Active feet, active hands, inside out. 1, 2, tempo and patience. We need to be violent, yet patient. If I look at the feet of these guys, I love that this footwork, when I talk about having sticky feet in the turf, these guys here that I'm showing you, I think that their feet get sticky. I don't want to float. You know, I hear guys that tell me, Coach, this kid's, he's fast. He's got great feet. Well, okay, does he float across the turf? Because if he floats across the turf, he's going to get his butt whooped anytime in pass protection. I need to be anchored to the ground. I need to be fast and violent with it, and I got to be anchored to the ground. It's a contact sport and pass protection as well. So you see the center right here, like where he's at. Boom. Okay. And I love the feet. I love the step replace. I love how sticky they are. Really good one right here. 1. Look at the feet. 2, 3. Good. I think the defender's going way too wide. Okay. Now I'm going to mess with them once in a while and get involved here. I don't like throwing the bag out, but I was just working with these guys in spring ball. Same idea, same drill. Okay. Now, just working sets on air. Okay. For us, working varied departures based on assumed alignments. Okay. So, you know, McNally was telling me up there years ago, he's like, look, we got an A set, a B set, and a C set. Okay. That's fine. I like that. And it's where I kind of grew from what I talk about. I want you to look at the angle of intercept that's necessary to do your job. Look at the angle of intercept necessary to do your job. You know where the quarterback is based on the protection call. At least you better if I've done my job. Okay. So I got to look at an angle of intercept. And when I work these sets, like right now, we're just working a vertical set here. Again, why a vertical set? Okay. Number 1, 3rd down and long, twist situation. Much better off being in a vertical set at tackle if they're twisting. You go with width, they can take your shoulders out. Much better off with wide speed rush guys, okay, in a vertical set if they are off the body of the man, right, somewhere out in here, right? If you're going to teach vertical set, because there's people that are vehemently opposed to it, to me, it's what it's called. This is the angle needed for the intercept, okay? I'm not going to get into a debate about drive catch versus, you know, what people called the old kick step. We call it a tracking step. I started calling it a tracking step about 4 or 5 years ago. All right. So it is that is what it is. But for me, this is angle of intercept. But if you're going to teach vertical, you better teach choke. You better teach them how to choke it. Because if I get to 2 to 3 sets and that man is still way in front of my hips, I better be able to choke that thing down. Okay. If I see him put that foot in the ground and wind up to go speed to bull, I want to get off the vertical set. I'm actually going to go attack him at that point. I'm going to go attack him by pressing off that foot, boom, lateral on a 45, because I need to be able to deflect it. I can't just take all that on with that much width and speed. I need to be able to deflect it. So I'm going to get off. I'm going to get off the vertical set, bang, on a quick little 45. Right here, we're working on holding our hands at tackle. Don't give them a bridge, right? Most guys are going to chop or rip on 3 if they're speed rushing. You can see it. 1, 2, boom. 1, 2, boom. All right. And on that 3rd step, that's when you're getting it. So for me, I want to hold our hands. And if that guy's just going to speed rush for our, again, back to buzz, put him in the well. Put him in the well. And when you go to put him in the well, as you open your hip, extend the backside arm. Inside arm, control the hip. Because most guys, when they get put in the well, right, what's a good D-line coach telling those guys? Get to quarterback depth, spin back. Get to quarterback depth, spin back. I want to be able to feel that hip and the spin back. I also want to lengthen the edge. 8 yards is the minimum. Okay. If you're going to run a guy by and he's going to bend, and I got no problem with it, it's great, man. Flybys are awesome. Anything under 8 yards, you're forcing that quarterback up into the pocket, potentially into an area that he's not comfortable with. Okay. So that's what we're working on there. He starts to close it down, right? I'm going to open, deflect. See where I want to get those hands? Hands are a little bit high, but the aiming point's good. Don't take on the brunt of it. Work inside out with that. Okay, so you see these guys here. Working the tackles now. Quick game sets. Boom, boom, boom. Quick game sets. Quick game sets again. That's what I would call a tainted vertical set, right? Why does it have to be a width set or a vertical set? Again, what angle of departure do you need? That's the set that I need. I love where the kid in the black shirt is. I like where his hands are at. I don't like where the elbows are of the kid to the right. Got to get his elbows in. Funny thing is, the kid to the right's a returning All-American. The kid to the left hasn't started a game yet for us, but he's going to. Got a bright future. A lot of different ways to go about it. Skin a cat. Okay. Interesting here. If you're a man protection team or you're a slide protection team, so that pretty much encompasses all of us, stop the leak. Most pass drills focus solely on departure to an outside shade. But yet a lot of our protections ask for a power step first, i.e. to come down inside. How many times do we work on it? As a couple of years ago, I'm like, wait a second. Every protection that we have, at least one guy, right up the chute, right in the A-gap. So I'm working here on a loose 2-eye. This is a left guard working down inside. I like where his hands are at. Bang, bang, control the rib cage. And when I say stop the leak, okay, let's talk about defensive linemen. Defensive linemen are like water, and water is going to leak. You stop them in the A-gap, they're going to leak back out to the B in a pass rush scenario, right? Okay, with no blitz or anything like that. They're going to leak back out. Stop the leak. Do not let them go vertical. To me, when I talk about pass protection with those guys, it's what is it that you're going to take away? Don't just set out there. What is it that you want to take away? First of all, you're talking about defensive ends. What's their go-to? When is it? Studying all week. Okay, what's their go-to? When is it? What's the counter off of that? If you have those things, now I want to know what your plan is coming out of there. And we want to take the controls. I want to be the aggressor. I want to stop that thing and force them. So again, people talk at times, they're like, hey, don't overset a guy. Don't overset a guy. No, that's true. That's true. But you want to, if you're setting out on a guy, you want to stop him with your outside hand and your outside leg. Trailhead inside. Outside hand, outside leg. Trailhead inside. But you still need to stop him because that's the three techniques, the third defensive end. So anyways, you see stop the leak. We're going to drive that thing down inside. Bang, okay, and force him to go back the other way. Now we're working on it with our tackles, right? You got an inside shade, you got a 4-eye, you got a 3 technique, got to get down inside and force him. Really nice job here of hand replace. I'm going to show you that drill in a minute. I love it. Boom, really good job there, okay? So that's what stop the leak is for us. Here's our guard doing it, our left guard. 1, 2, good. That's a big drill that we actually work. Stop the leak and then hand replace another one. We'll get to that in a minute. One of my favorites here, okay, and for you guys out there, if you haven't shut me off yet, which if you haven't, kudos to you. I owe you like a burger or something. One-man twists, I absolutely love. It teaches your basement. It teaches departure. It teaches change of direction. It teaches hands and violent strike. And it also teaches your guys how to pick up twists without having them play the drill. We've all been there. You set your left side up, you give them a 3 and a 5, and you do this. Right? And man, those guys look like champs. They're passing that thing off. They look like the daggone Rockettes. Okay. And then it happens, and then your D-line coach comes down, he talks to you, and he's sitting there in the locker. He goes, hey, let's get together and do some of those twists. And they absolutely light you up. I mean, they light you up. And You're like, well, wait a minute. It was so good. So I started doing this. We do this drill every day from a pass protection perspective because I can have guys depart multiple different ways. Okay. So you put 3 guys up there. I get it. There's a root to this twist, right? We always talk about twists. There's a root. If it's an NT, it's a nose first tackle around. 3-man twist. There's a root. Every 3-man twist has a 2-man twist root. It's NT with boom, or it's TN with boom, right? So anyways, here, I got a guy, this is our left guard. So I got a guy lined up at 3 technique right here. He's either going to go vertical and then get out of the way, or he's going to cross face. So you're getting different things coming around, and it makes our guys stay compact and tight. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm working twists, which is supposed to be a 2-man thing with only 1 guy. And that's okay. And I know, right, when our guys come up, they put their hand up, they show the outside hand, right? Like I'm over here. So I shade it. If it's working inside, I'm going to sit on it longer. If it's going outside, I'm going to, we talk about a side jam, right? I don't know how many guys, do that or talk about, but if I got a 3 technique working away, side jam right here, bang, right off the shoulder, boom, right there on a 45. Because if I punch here, I'm in trouble. Once it goes to here, my hips are going to open back up to the inside. But how many times do you work a side jam? Bang, right there, get it off you. 1, 2, now bang, fit it inside. Good, right? So you get a look at that. 1, 2, look at the tackle. Nicely done here. This is left tackle. He ended up playing left guard for us later on. But here's the deal, left tackle, okay? So what you get here is 1 away, bang, control the inside. Now, when the 3rd piece comes, right? So what you're looking at this as, the first guy, this guy's insignificant, right? He's just getting things moving. What you're really looking at here is an ET, right? Everybody see that? So now, what's the worst thing I can do? Once I ride that thing down inside to my guard, I want to come back and set what we call a vertical high wall, right? And you're going to see him do that right now. Give the contain guy a 1-way go. Because more and more defensive coaches will tell that guy, if you can stack and get back outside of that, go ahead and take it, right? So for us, as I carry that guy down inside, look, see that? Now I'm coming out vertical right there. Boom, boom, boom. I don't want to come back out and gain width. And that's the first thing a lot of young guys are going to do. They're going to go bang, and they're going to go right back on that same plane with width. And that's no bueno. Young Bales. He'll be a 6-year senior for us next fall, thanks to the red shirt rule. That's okay though. He's getting his doctorate in physical therapy. He'll take any amount of coin we can give him for as long as we can. So, anyways, you get a good look at that. 1, 2, boom. See how short he is on what's going away? Bang, bang. There it is. Okay, good. Piano's more for young guys early on. I don't love it because I don't think it's good for step replace. Okay. Boom, boom. Take it down in. This is more skill development. This is these guys working on it in the summer. I'm not going to do it a ton. You're not going to find any reps of it when we're in shoulder pads. Okay. Because it's not super realistic with a 2-handed punch and stuff like that. And I put it on there just to know that it's okay. You don't have to, in my opinion, either say, I absolutely love this drill or I would never use it. Okay. I use it once in a while and I use it for young guys. I got a sophomore, a true freshman, and a true freshman in this film right there. They're not ready for angle of intercept. They can't, they're crossing their feet right now. Okay. They're not down there at the O-line Academy in the greater Dayton area. They don't have that. So anyways, cheap plug. Hand replace. Here, I talked about this, right? Handling the surface, handling change of direction in the AB gaps. Heavy, strong hands. Heavy, strong hands, right? I'm locked up already at the start of this drill. Again, I've already got my fit. Don't let go if you don't have to. If it's going to go outside the framework, again, more for guards and centers here, but if it's going to go outside the framework of the body, I then need to let go. But you better train your guys on how to reset and restack the hands. And again, the first thing a lot of guys that haven't done this drill are going to do is they're going to go pop, 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 pop. No. We move when we have to. Okay? We're offensive linemen. If the remote's too far away, we'll just watch the same show. Right? I mean, that's what we do. We'll eat a bag of chips unless they're all the way in the kitchen. Then we're not going to get up and go get them. So why would we move just to move? We want to be functional and violent. Functional and violent with this. So you see, I don't want hands dropping. I want constant hands on the man. You can see, because what the surface area keeps changing. You see that? And as the surface area changes, I need to reset my hands. Good look at it from here. 1, good, good, yes, good. Again, what you'll see too is I don't go super long with drills. I don't. I'll go 3-4 seconds, 4-5 seconds. Again, it's just whoever needs to hear this, or if you don't agree with me, that's okay. But the average length of a play is somewhere in the 4 to 6 second range. If you go past 6, the back is past the secondary. Okay, good for us. Strike up the band. Drilling those guys for 10 seconds, things are changing. So to do the same thing over and over and over again for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds doesn't make any sense to me. And then you got to get into just one-on-ones. It's essential for transferring any of your indie work into O-line and D-line play. Okay, so like right here, our left tackle's up. Boom, nice punch. Look, his angle of intercept. Look at his departure. I think, honestly, it's a touch too shallow. I really do. I think he could be a little bit deeper, but he does a nice job with the punch. And understand, man, when people talk about stay square, staying square is relative to departure. At that point, then you need to stay square with the man because it changes. Okay. We got to make sure we talk about those things. Right now, I got no problem with where he is. He's still square. I got a problem with the golf clap out of the left guard. I'd like it to look a little meaner. Okay. But they're juiced. So what are you going to do? Take a win, anger the defensive line coach. Okay, let's watch the right tackle here. Oh, never mind. Let's watch the right guard. See how he forces him back out and stops the leak. Love it. Have a plan. Misses with his hands. Again, I'm not telling you the technique isn't important. As a matter of fact, I'm telling you it very much is. But the last piece of the teaching progression is win from a defeated position. The amount of times that we're going to fit a guy exactly the way that we need to fit him, or exactly the way that we do in individual is very limited. So resetting the hand there to me is more exciting than getting it perfect. And then once he works inside, forcing it back out and being in control of it is even better. And throwing him on the ground, that's just a bonus. Okay. Right tackle, I believe. Yes. Bad hands. Great basement. You can have both. Don't like where his hands are, but a great basement. You know, Packers a couple years ago were teaching this. They were teaching top of the shoulder pads. Very interesting article on that. I don't like where his hands are, but I love the basement. Look at the departure and look how sticky the feet are. It's just bang, bang, bang. Okay, so good. See the hips coming up in the transition, right? See how he gets his foot stuck in the ground right there, right? Because of the hop. Bang, right there. He did not need to hop. He's in good shape. What's my aiming point? Where's my aiming point? My aiming point is my inside hand, right, to the near armpit rib cage area. Inside hand. Eyes through your hands. Eyes through your hands. That hop right there put him in bad shape. Guess what a good athlete will do? He'll bail you out. Again, nice job recovering. Okay. Really like, you should see a little bit of hand replace here. There it is. Stopping the leak. And you better treat your centers different, right? Especially if you're putting your guards and tackles on depth. You know, our guards, our tackles line up even with our guards. Our guards' helmets split the width or split the hip of the center. Okay, so they have a different depth. You better line them up that way when you're down there doing indie. Just as an opinion, because this is a totally different ball of wax in here. But a really nice job with the kids' feet. Okay, and nicely done here. Hands, replace, good. I like it. So, I mean, that's the basics right there of some.